Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent. Chapter 251 Star Tower, out. 30th of Volume 6. Di Qing stood there, and naturally endless sword light gathered around his body. He himself was like a sword, and the mighty river of blood could not erode him in the slightest. 3,000 killing formations, heavenly pillar Tianzhu realm. With a thought from Emperor Qing, the sword array immediately transformed. In the endless blood river, pillars of light formed by converging sword lights stood up tall in the sky. Each pillar was incredibly majestic and infinitely high, naturally supporting a vast world. 36 pillars. Luo Feng looked at the scene in front of him in surprise. This vast world, supported by 36 pillars, has completely trapped the vast and heavy endless blood river. Brother Yin, these are the 36 heavenly pillars that I have comprehended in the Tianzhu realm. I've grasped a bit of their essence and integrated it into the formation. Di Qing said with a smile. What do you think of their power? Using 36 heavenly pillars as the foundation to support a world, this world sword formation is indeed extraordinary. Luo Feng sensed the endless killing intent contained in the 36 sword light pillars, laughed heartily. But my blood river is not that simple. Rise. Luo Feng's immense spiritual willpower merged with the entire endless blood river. At this moment, the entire endless blood river seemed like a huge python, and the python suddenly swung its tail. The entire endless blood river howled as it struck one of the sword light pillars. Bang! The sword light pillar immediately trembled, appearing with numerous cracks. This blood river hides such profound mysteries. Di Qing was secretly astonished. This seemingly simple blood river tail swipe actually unleashed an endless onslaught of immense power, far beyond the limits of the origin continent. This onslaught of immense power was not just a single explosive strike, but rather a continuous eruptions, whether sharp and lethal, subtle and infiltrating, or the crushing of the most basic units. The power of continuous eruptions reached the upper limit, with combination of different mysteries. Just a single tail swipe can cause cracks in the Tianzhu or heavenly pillars. Bang! 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 The vast blood river, like a giant snake, rolled and lashed wantonly. The sword light pillars began to collapse, unable to stabilize at all. This power. Is this the strength of Di Qing and the Lord of Galaxy? The other god kings of the origin continent watched this scene from afar, including the emperors of the Yangfeng Ancient Kingdom and the rulers of the Thunder Ancient Kingdom, all feeling suffocated. Those infinitely high sword light pillars and the vast, unrestrained blood river were forces they could not resist. This is the power above the god king. Di Qing and the Lord of Galaxy, they are too terrifying. The heart of these god kings trembled. The realm beast of Tianmu Kingdom was also watching from afar. No matter how hard I try to cultivate, I can't break through the bottleneck. I reached the ultimate realm through eating and drinking along the way, but then I'm forever stuck in the ultimate realm. Compared to these two, I'm too far behind. From the very beginning, it wasn't about relying on one's own understanding and cultivation. Suddenly having to rely on oneself to go from ultimate realm to above the God King, naturally has extremely low probability. Above the God King, the Lord of 10,000 realms was also watching from afar. On the foundation of a complete Great Tao, absorb other mysteries, integrate them into one's own Great Tao, and take the Great Tao a step further. But this step is too difficult. The complete Tao is already very perfect. Integrating other mysteries often ends up being superfluous. The power also decreases rather than increasing. The Lord of 10,000 realms can indeed integrate some mysteries into the Great Tao, slightly increasing its power, but it clearly cannot be called a qualitative change. Perhaps I should leave the origin continent and visit other worlds. The Lord of 10,000 realms thought. Previously, the only one in this era stronger than him was Di Qing, but now there is also the Lord of Galaxy. The Lord of 10,000 realms has developed a desire to venture out. Di Qing looked at the vast blood river, roaring wantonly and sweeping in all directions, even his 36 sword light pillars collapsing one after another, unable to withstand this terrifying force. He couldn't help but smile. Brother Yin, the power of your blood river is indeed extraordinary. I shall unleash the strongest form of this 3,000 killing formation, 3,000 worlds. As soon as the words were spoken, countless sword lights appeared, carrying endless mysteries, naturally forming a grand formation. Luo Feng's expression changed slightly. In the vast surrounding area, a world filled with the fragrance of flowers and the sound of crows has emerged. There are endless lands, a sky, undulating mountains, and even the birth of some ordinary creatures. Giving birth to living creatures. Luo Feng was very surprised. 3,000 worlds can evolve all things. Although it is far from the operation of the supreme rules, it can be considered as having grasped a bit of the surface. Di Qing appeared in this world, looking at Luo Feng with a smile. The endless blood river within this world almost spans half of it, yet it is suppressed by invisible rules. The entire world's power is focused on suppressing the blood river, making its turbulent flow increasingly difficult. The entire world's power is suppressing this blood river. Kai, Kai, Kai. In the blood river, there is even more sword lights flashing, annihilating strands of the blood river's power. However, the blood river is filled with endless vitality. For every strand of power that is annihilated, one would naturally be restored. My endless blood river, whose every move is extremely difficult, is completely suppressed. Luo Feng was very surprised. The endless blood river is controlled by the secret patterns within the Star Tower, and yet it is being suppressed. Brother Yin, your blood river is indeed quite profound, and in terms of realm, it can be considered the early stage of a god emperor. Di Qing said. Under the power restrictions of the origin continent, although I can gain a slight upper hand, I still can't hurt you in the slightest. The blood river that runs through most of this world is terrifyingly powerful. I didn't expect that I would be suppressed in the origin continent. Luo Feng laughed and said, Brother Qing, now I'm going all out. You should also take out your secret treasure. Go all out. Emperor Qing was stunned. Luo Feng stood in the endless blood river and shouted. Suddenly, a dark and deep 9-story tower began to emerge from the endless blood river. Boom. As soon as the 9-story tower appeared, the surrounding 3,000 worlds began to tremble with countless cracks appearing. The earth, mountains and sky all were shattering. Previously, Luo Feng had only driven the secret patterns of the Star Tower to control his own body and transform it into the blood river. But at this moment, he was truly using Star Tower itself to confront Di Qing. This power. Di Qing's expression changed. He saw that as soon as the 9-story tower appeared, it naturally began to invade the 3,000 worlds, causing it to start collapsing. This is not an ordinary secret treasure. After the Star Tower appeared, it grew larger and larger, vast and majestic. As it continued to grow, it naturally caused the 3,000 worlds to collapse, and it kept growing larger, crushing everything in its path. Di Qing's 3,000 killing formation could no longer be deployed. This. Di Qing gazed up at the 9-story tower, which made his heart palpitate with excitement. This treasure must be a secret treasure forged by the Xuanhuan life. In the origin continent, the infinite space is the easiest place to obtain such treasures. There are also, beyond the God King level, treasures, but the treasures refined by these god emperors and the ones refined by Yuan are vastly different. Yuan and the others had long since broken free from their confines. Even if they refine it casually, they could achieve irregular effects. For example, all attacks below the level of Xuanhuan life, including soul attacks and all other types, are weakened by 90%. This kind of regular effect cannot be produced by the god emperors. At this moment, Di Qing also felt a sense of superior rules in the Star Tower, which was definitely not an ordinary treasure refined by a god emperor. At this moment, all the forces on the origin continent saw this scene from afar. A 9-story tower has appeared. Its power has already reached the limit of the origin continent. And there are also some terrifying effects of penetrations and erosions. Just looking at them fills one with fear and despair. Good treasure. The 3 major alien races all looked at it with greedy eyes, all feeling a surge of greed. It might be a treasure forged by the Yuan. Unfortunately, it's within the origin continent. In the origin continent, no one can snatch it. The 3 major alien races also realize this. The other powerful beings from the origin continent are completely shocked. The strength of the Lord of Galaxy can actually overpower Emperor Qing. How can this 9-story tower be so terrifying? The emperors and lords all felt their hearts tremble. So it turned out he didn't even use his full strength when he killed Emperor Yuan. Taking out this tower, his strength is far too terrifying. Brother Yin, hurry up and collect the treasure. Di Qing had already hidden far away and spoke immediately. Feeling sorry for Emperor Qing. In an instant, the Star Tower merged into the endless blood river and disappeared. The endless blood river converged into the figure of Luo Feng. In the sparring with Emperor Qing, Luo Feng confirmed that Emperor Qing couldn't even harm a single drop of his blood river. Only then did Luo Feng publicly use the Star Tower. Throughout the origin continent, there are too few opponents worthy of him using the Star Tower. Luo Feng is also itching to use it. Di Qing took a step closer to Luo Feng, smiling at him. Brother Yin, with such talent, it's only natural for you to obtain the powerful treasure left behind by Senior Yuan. I once received a treasure left by Senior Yuan as well, but I took it to the outside world long ago. In the future, Brother Yin should be careful when bringing this 9-story tower to the outside world. Di Qing reminded, because it's easy to be targeted by powerful foreign tribes. Brother Di Qing, aren't you afraid of being robbed? Luo Feng asked. Haha, just be careful. Di Qing said, there are quite a few secret treasures casually refined by Senior Yuan. For example, they can be exchanged in the infinite space. Or some secret treasures which occasionally come into existence in some treasure land like Tianzhu realm. Luo Feng understood. Di Qing regarded his star tower as one of the treasures exchanged within the infinite space. The treasures exchanged in the infinite space are all refined by the Xuanhuan life forms, and it is even possible that they may be personally refined by Senior Yuan. Di Qing said. The value varies, with high ones exceeding 100,000 reward points, and ordinary ones having around 20,000 to 30,000 reward points. Each treasure with more than 100,000 reward points can drive the God Emperors mad. Di Qing sighed. Those with 20 or 30,000 reward points are quite ordinary. Luo Feng nodded. The few treasures worth 100,000 points in infinite space are all helpful for breaking out of the cage. I haven't exchanged a single treasure myself, and I'm not clear about the difference between the secret treasures exchanged in the infinite space and the Star Tower. The Star Tower, for me, is not primarily about combat, but about aiding my cultivation. Luo Feng understood this, comprehending the secret patterns of the Star Tower greatly benefits his Tao of life and death cultivation. So even if he ventured outside the origin world, Luo Feng had to take the Star Tower with him. As long as the Star Tower remains on the origin continent, no one can take it. Brother Qing, has any cultivator ever exchanged for a treasure worth more than 100,000 reward points? Luo Feng asked. We don't have any on the origin continent, but other origin worlds do. Di Qing said with a smile. Senior Yuan has left infinite space in many origin worlds. It is widely recognized outside that the threshold for infinite space is 100,000 reward points. Any treasure that reaches this threshold is incredibly precious and can even help break free from the cage. Unfortunately, reaching 100,000 reward points is too difficult. It's too difficult. Luo Feng also agreed. Indeed, it's very difficult. I broke through my own spiritual will and also received 100,000 reward points. But you can't just exchange all the reward points for one treasure, can you? The top tier and perfect level inheritances within the infinite space treasury are also very attractive. A treasure worth at least 100,000 reward points, its rarity is beyond imagination. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.